We're talking about gaslighting and reality checks. Gaslighting works when it undermines your confidence in understanding reality. In this episode, you're going to gain some deeper insights into exactly what that means. But let's go ahead and we will jump into it. Hello, Karen. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Hey, we're matching today.
I know. I feel so privileged. You know. Hey,
We didn't
do,
even coordinate this.
do you remember the television show Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Outer Limits? Do you remember that show?
No.
Well, when I was a kid, we watched both the Twilight Zone and also Outer Limits.
Hmm.
And Outer Limits always began by saying this: there's nothing wrong with your television set.
Oh
Do
yeah.
not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. Now, I cannot remember if it was an episode of The Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, but there is this one of the two is that there were these medical professionals surrounding this person, and they're talking about taking off the bandages on their face. So, do you remember that one?
Yeah, the Twilight Zone.
Are you sure? Because I thought it was the Outer Limits.
Big or something, or
Yeah. So they start taking off the bandages on this lady's face, and all of them, oh, she's hideous, and so on and so forth. And then, and then you see it cuts to this a beautiful blonde woman,
hmm
and then the wide shot shows all the faces of the medical professionals, and there are all these pig people. and that's kind of a visual depiction of what goes on with gaslighting.
hmm yeah.
Is that is that oh, she's hideous, oh, you're bad, oh, you don't understand, oh, you're deficient or whatever.
hmm
And and so it's hard enough to kind of like maintain your sense of balance when one person is telling you that, but then if there's a whole bunch of people that are telling you that,
hmm
it can get to be somewhat daunting, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a video that where we're going to talk a little bit about gaslighting and reality checks, and let's go ahead and we'll watch that at this time.
Biggest asset is your ability to determine what's real and what's not real. I mean, we can't go through the day without having a firm grasp on reality. That's why when you pull up your GPS, you're trying to get somewhere, that's not the only thing that pops up. What pops up is that blinking light showing where you are right now. I think it was Max Dupre that said the first task of anybody in leadership is to define reality. We can't fix something. We can't go anywhere. We can't accomplish anything. We can't make our next move if we're standing on quicksand. Your whole system depends, your brain, your heart, your psychology, even your actions depends on, you don't know where to take the next step on a sidewalk if you don't know where you are.
Yeah, so those are good comments that we have there. What are your thoughts about that? I have a bunch of thoughts, but I want to hear from you first.
Well, okay, this is kind of like a little rabbit trail, I guess. But this is what it made me think of, is that Matt had injured his ankle like a long time
Mm-hmm.
ago playing football and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and then like when we got married, it seemed like every year he would mess up his ankle pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this one time, he went and saw this doctor, and the doctor said, like, basically your mind isn't it's had to doubt so many times, like your foot has gotten messed up so many times that now it's like you don't really trust your own self to where your footing is, like it's
Yeah.
off. The
Hmm.
connection between your brain and your foot, there's something disrupted there, and that's, I guess that's just like what it made me think of right there. I don't know why.
No, I think that's a good observation.
I'll connect the dots in a little bit maybe, but
No, no, no. I think that's really good. Is that there is there's a sense that something is wrong
Mhm.
when it's not really wrong, and that's kind of
Yeah.
like the essence of gaslighting. Is that people will tell you you're bad, or you're stupid, or you know you're inadequate, or you're defective in some way,
Mhm.
and and but the fact of the matter is that they're not really working in your best interests with
Yeah.
respect to that. Hey, now I'm going to tell you one here. Is that I've been coaching a person for many years now, and I'm going to just refer to this person as them. Okay, so that way we don't, won't give away any identities on that. But they have a severe mental illness
Mhm.
and are on serious antipsychotic drugs.
Yeah.
And and I really enjoy visiting with this person. And I've always been kind of curious, is it possible for someone who has hallucinations,
Mhm.
for someone who's mentally ill, who has hallucinations, to know that they're hallucinating, you know? And and there's actually a tie-in here with the gaslighting thing, because actually at that level of mental illness, you're being, it's just kind of like what you were talking about with Matt, is that your own brain is betraying your understanding of reality.
Yeah.
And so I actually just moments before we got on this broadcast, I was talking with this person and about how that last night was one of the worst nights that they've had in a long, long time, with just these unrelenting hallucinations. And it's interesting to me that the hallucinations are always fear inducing.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
never, no,
Right.
no, listen to this. Nobody ever gets hallucinations that I know of that are affirming.
Yeah.
you know you
Yeah.
know hey, you got this, you're doing wonderful, I believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
it's always it's always these menacing and threatening and fear inducing
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
And so this is that and I really, like I say, I really enjoy talking with this individual from the standpoint is that they're at the place in their life where they're able to recognize when they're having hallucinations, even though those hallucinations seem so very real, you
Yeah.
know. So but that's kind of the tool of the gaslighter, is
Mhm.
that the gaslighter makes you question your
Mhm.
reality, you know.
Yeah.
And so and that could be extremely that can create a lot of disequilibrium in our
Mhm.
lives,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah, my son is in his history class right now. They're talking about um like a famous person influencer, like of Hitler, like one of the people who was giving them the, the propaganda.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they were saying is like, if you tell a lie that's big enough too, not just that if you tell a lie over and over again that they'll believe it, but if you tell a lie that's big enough, people won't question you on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that
And
more
so,
and more in America, to tell you the truth, and that's not what this is about. But
yeah,
that, and and that's why that it's so important for us to have to be firmly grounded in the truth. But when people even question the the reality of truth itself, and that's where we've ended up, in America, is the kind of like the for many years, academics perpetuated the myth, the false idea that there is no such thing as truth. What's, by the way, the best retort to that when somebody says, well, there is no such thing as truth, objective truth?
well, that's a lie.
No.
That can't be true.
Well, you're getting close. You're warm. But I would just ask, when somebody says there's no such thing as objective truth, I would just ask them, now, is that true?
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is that they're asserting some sort of objective truth, that there is no such thing as objective truth.
Yeah.
So
You're an expert on untrue things.
yeah. So,
Are you an
but
authority on untrue statements?
yeah. But now you're talking about me, or are you talking about them?
If
Okay.
they believe that there's no truth, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, then you're an expert on what's untrue.
Yeah. I am. When I was younger, I and there was a bumper sticker that everybody had on their cars, because everybody back then, we all thought all the rebels, all the rebels were questioning the establishment, and in the process we were creating our own establishment. But there's a bumper sticker that went around for the longest time that said, question authority. And I always, whenever I saw that, this is after I became a Christian, but I always had this real strong compulsion to get a Sharpie and go around whenever I saw that bumper sticker and just scrawl on it, who says?
Yeah. Under what authority are you telling me to question authority?
Exactly. So getting back to this whole thing and so this is where it gets kind of like crazy in relationships, because when our partner or significant other or friend or whoever else, or even our business environment begins to turn, and they make it their project for you to essentially to instill insecurity about your own ability to determine reality.
Yeah.
That can be very problematic, to say the least. And in order to resist that, we need a solid footing. Now, in an upcoming broadcast, we're going to be talking about how to kind of create that solid footing. But for now, what we need to just remember is that we need to have a pretty secure sense that until I have solid evidence to believe elsewise, I'm not going to jump on your crazy train.
Yeah. All aboard.
everybody get on for the crazy train. So we're going to be talking more about gaslighting. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up today?
Yeah. So I think, like, okay, in Philippians chapter 4, like, the whole whatever is section.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, for me, that it says, like, the first one is whatever is true. And then, it goes through like a whole list of things, and it says, think on these things.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't remember all of the things,
Yeah.
all you have to do is remember that first one, because if you can get to your thoughts to that one, typically speaking, you don't have to keep going any further, because
Yeah.
most things that are not true also fall under a lot of those other categories. So if you stick with that, whatever is true, I think
Yeah.
that really helps determine whether or not
Yeah.
it's something you should even be thinking about. It
Yeah.
says, think of these things, or such things
Exactly.
as that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Cool.
uh, I had one other thought real quick. Is there's this worship song, and it says, I am who you say I am. And it's talking about God. And I think that so oftentimes we think we are who everyone else says we are,
Yeah.
but really we are who God says we are. And if we can stop and just, like, on the daily remind ourselves, I am who you say that I am. And what does
Yeah.
God say about you? And in order to answer that question, you got to know, like, look in the scriptures. What does God say about his people?
Yeah.
And if you can stay rooted in that, I think it will, and self included. If I can stay rooted in that, it really helps me to have more confidence and not get swept up under these, like, lies or side quests or whatever distractions of what other people say that I am.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to wrap this up. I appreciate those comments. Those are good. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about I am who you say I am, but we're going to save that for our next broadcast, if I can remember it next time. All right. Well, let me wrap this up. So, hey, thanks for watching today. This is all part of our Beyond Betrayal ministry. And Beyond Betrayal is actually a private Facebook group where we share all of our content of how life can be good again beyond betrayal. Even though you might feel cheated by life, others, or even God, is that life can be good again beyond betrayal. And so I hope that you'll be able to discover that for yourself. And we're doing all that we can to help you to get there. So that's it for now. I hope you'll join us next time. Bye-bye for